Hi, I'm Ian. You know, my job was as a dentist. And the walking's great, I think it is. And I like to say to people that it's about two and a half miles. Bloody well never it is.
I'm Derek. I'm over 70. I've retired. I've been involved in the green community in one way and another for a number of years.
I'm Stan Mark. The garden's always been important to us too.
My name is Roy. I'm 64 years old. Music is important, to me anyway. It reminds me of good times, it reminds me of bad times.
Hello, my name's Judith. All my friends call me Jude. I love painting. I'm not really an artist, but I just love doing it.
Hello, my name's Harry. Well, I would say I love photography. I love walking, and I have frontal lobe dementia.
This little thing here is a little painting, and it's a bit of a joke well, I think it's a bit of a joke. The others, most of the family don't, but I've never been able to do anything like that. But I found quite quickly, I found that I could just slap things around. I can disappear and just mess about, and I don't have to do anything. But I quite enjoy doing what I'm doing, you know.
My camera, yes, well, most definitely something new, yeah. I really enjoy the camera, I really do. It's my window of what I see, the world and people. It reminds me of where I've been, who's with me. It's memories for me as well. That's what I'm looking at, and I like to try and think I can remember them later on in time as it progresses.
Oh, this is the county netball that we played in, and that was when we were under just sort of like beginning to play our county netball, because we weren't old enough then. I can't say all the names, but we've won everything in sight, if you know what I mean. That's me.
So we're all right. And now, of course, we're not so good. Then
all right.
I said, yeah. I tried to do it if I can, but if not, if I got odd. Otherwise, if you take a lot of time doing these things, then you can start getting a bit irritated, and that could start you off, like you were saying, for the day then, you know, you get the feeling you're getting a little bit stroppy.
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Right, there we are. At the beginning, it was the anger. You're just annoyed with yourself and annoyed that you're not as you was. This is I'm no good at the name of the plants, but that's the one that comes up that the butterflies like. It's about that long. Well, and the
Buddleia.
That's it. Oh, you got it. Buddleia, when it grows, it's up here, business like. The state of mind was, I felt that I'd been hit by something, but I couldn't sort out what it was.
You've really just got to get on with it, and actually, I think it's quite easy to do that, but you need the backing of all these other people, and my wife's been away yesterday and overnight because she's lecturing down in Southampton, and this morning, very early was hell, you know, because I'd got up and I realised the time was wrong, and I was thinking, now what am I going to eat, or what am I going to wear? And it was it was a bit of a mess, really.
It's like being inside a balloon at times, and you can't break out of it. You're just stuck in there, and you want your mind to think properly as normal, but you can't break out of that position. And that is how I feel at times. So it makes me a bit angry that I can't convey that to others, because it's just not something that you can convey, that you feel locked in that area. But it does come.
Oh no! He missed his neighbours. Know the person. Know everything. You know, read up on the notes on that person. Speak to that person. Yeah, get to know them. You know, like someone will say, "Oh, you got a camera? You take photographs." I know a little. I do a little bit, and you know. So it's that sort of thing, trying to fall in with them, because my wife she accepts with what I've got now, so she is trying to, someone spoke to her about it and said that really she's got to come into my world now, and which she tries to do and tries to understand, and yeah, it does get difficult for her, and I just sometimes wish that she would go away for a bit of respite, and you know, and sort of chill out and forget about me for a while, you know, but trying to get through to her, nah. It's a woman's thing.
I think talking is great, and a lot of people, and actually talking, perhaps, well, just talking to people you haven't met before is, it's really difficult for some people, you know, but I don't have a problem. But at the same time, I know that my vocabulary is going, and you know, and I know it. I know it's going to get to a stage where we might be guessing what we're wanting to say, and what we all are in many ways.
I don't get anybody from social services or anybody else coming in, see how I am, anything, you know. When I need it, I'll ask for it. Until then, I'll support myself. I'll do everything I can myself. If I went down the road of asking for help, going to social services and all the official bodies, I'd lose some of the power to be able to do it myself. You know, I wouldn't have the motivation to do it myself. You know, it would be, oh, I'll ask somebody to do it for me. Well, why ask somebody to do it for you when you might be able to do it for yourself? If you can't do it for yourself, then, you know, get somebody to help you. But other than that, you know, do it yourself.
Mushrooms of some sort. Something else that'll catch, you know, when we're out walking with the walking group. But I'll stop, and I just see, so there's so much out there in nature to look at and think, oh, isn't that beautiful? Yeah. I sometimes get left behind because I'm looking at something. Yeah. I had to stop and think, perhaps more, instead of automatically going to do something as I would have in the past. I have to stop and think now, if is that practical, bearing in mind the Alzheimer's. Yeah, probably 8 times out of 10, it still is practical. but you've got to take it into, and you've got to take it into account. It's hard to work to sort of list the things that are a problem, because there's so many things that aren't a problem that you can avoid the bits that are going to be problematic.
Look, don't you take that one off. Oh, no.
I couldn't take it in at first. I found it hard to absorb the fact that all of a sudden I'm not working, I'm not driving. I think to myself, why me? How did it happen? Because I really don't know how it happens. One minute you're okay, next you've been diagnosed. But it took me a little while to realise that I had the problem, but it took me a little bit longer to accept it, and because I was very bitter, because I couldn't work, I couldn't drive, and I felt as if everything I'd worked for had been taken away from me. I try not to dwell on that too much, because life's too short, so I like to keep on chivying along.
You've got to continue with the life as it was before dementia put its head above the water, so to speak. And you've just got to carry on as if you were that same person as you were before the dementia hit you. You find when you're getting older, and especially with the problems, you can't do as you used to do, so you've got to find a compromise to do the job. That's the point. To do any job, you've got to change it. Otherwise, we won't get anywhere.
I think people ought to know that the condition I've got, although it's not reversible, life still goes on, and there's no need to be really down about it. For a short while, yes, kick the cat, whatever, slam a few doors, but get on with life, because life is short, and make the most of it. And that's what I'm going to try and do.
Come on, ducks. No, my mind is clear. Mind the water. What's important to me is that I'm treated as a normal person, and hopefully that comes across to most people. If they find that difficult, then I explain, not fully, but I explain just to say, I'm sorry, but I've got a memory problem, could you repeat that please? And they do, so that's okay. That was a good joke, thank you.
Another joke.
But that was a dirty one. I laugh, I try and laugh. I cry, but not very often now. I'm not so frightened of it now. But I do laugh a lot. Yeah, definitely.
I've got an illness, but I'm still a person. But I can still think. I can talk. I can hear. I can breathe. You know, just treat them normally.
Aww. We can see you.
Just holding someone's hand is pretty damn good, actually. I mean, I was brought up with you know, five kids in my family, and you know, we liked cuddles then, and I feel the same really. But some people don't like that at all.
Yeah, it's a shock when it comes, and eventually you get over it. Oh, I did, and I think most of the people at the centre got used to it, got over it. I suppose it's 3 gets, isn't it? Get over it, get on with it. No, 3 gets. Yeah, forgot the third one. Yeah, get on with life. My message, I think, would be to treat me like a human being, and perhaps make allowances for any I've lost the word now. Begins with an I and it's got synchrony on the end.
Idiosyncrasies.
That's the word. Idiosyncrasies. Yeah, just make allowances for any not what you said, idiosyncrasies that I have.